Bruh, Kevin Feige said that Kang is bringing a new kind of big bad to the MCU. I think if you look into what he is saying, he means Kang the Conqueror is going to be a bigger threat than Thanos. But what does that even mean? And after deep diving into the Ant-Man 3 trailer and connecting the dots between subtle hints throughout the MCU that are tied to the bigger side of the supernatural magic side of the universe, I've come to the conclusion that it's all connected. Cosmic energy, MCU magic, and dimensions all connected to Kang's big plans. And bruh, this doesn't just reveal why Kang will be a bigger villain than Thanos, it could explain the very fabric and essence of what makes the MCU. Let's get sweaty, hit that sub button, and drop a like, because at the end of the day, when comparing Thanos's and Kang's level of conquest, Thanos was going after the Infinity Stones that control aspects of our existence, but Kang will be trying to take over the source of the stone's power. That is, the aspects of the multiverse and time stream that allow Infinity Stones to work. Look, I love you, Thanos, but I gotta be real. The Infinity Stones are powered by cosmic energy that flows throughout the time streams in the multiverse. There's proof of this in Loki. Like, if you look at the Infinity Stones after they were taken out of the timeline, they just are useless.
Some of the guys use them as paperweights.
All of that to say, Kang is definitely going bigger than Thanos, bigger than the Infinity Stones. But inside of that statement right there, which is in itself pretty big, there is something even bigger. Something that explains how the MCU works and Kang's plan to manipulate. Because it is all connected to Kang. Check it out. News that the MCU is leaning heavy into the magic side of their universe, streamlining Doctor Strange 3. Streamlining a Strange Academy series on the Plus. You know, we get rumors that Kang the Conqueror wrote the Darkhold. Like, all of that is making me think that the entire MCU is built on cosmic energy currents that are unique and serve a different purpose, but to flow together to create the time stream. Now, before we get too sweaty, I want you to remember this Jonathan Majors quote from Empire Magazine. He says, "Here is conflict, not just mano a mano, not just hero and villain, but your way of life and my way of life. I'm coming for it. We're in a battle here." Again, remember that throughout this video, because where I want to start is explaining the cosmic energy currents and how they make up the MCU, because this idea can go all the way back to phase 1 in Thor, where Jane Foster says this about magic and technology.
Well, magic's just science that we don't understand yet.
Now, defensive magicians would get all up in arms and call her a non-believer, but a true sorcerer would agree with her, because they would know that they've simply just found a way to tap into something that is beyond their understanding. I mean, the Ancient One says it herself.
Call it a program, a source code that shapes reality. We harness energy drawn from other dimensions of the multiverse.
And that line on the base level, like by itself, just seems like a simple enough explanation as to how Doctor Strange can make orange sparks come out of his hands and pop out anywhere across the universe. But that was phase 1 and 2. We're talking Kang, baby, and he's coming for our way of life, so we gotta dig deeper than that. Look, I'm starting to believe that the dimensions where sorcerers like Doctor Strange, Agatha Harkness, and Wanda Maximoff are tapping into are dimensions that were introduced in phase 4, like the Noor dimension from Ms. Marvel.
It's connected to our world, but hidden behind the veil of Noor that separates our world from theirs.
Noor is the energy source of that realm.
Ta Lao from Shang-Chi.
Realm of Talor stretches far beyond the shores of our small village. We have cities that surpass any in your universe.
The Utopia Paradox, where America Chavez is from, are all dimensions that live inside of cosmic energy threads that make up timelines in multiverses. And while they pull from individual threads, I believe Kang is pulling from all of them. There's even evidence of that in the Ant-Man Quantumania trailer. Take a look at these shots here. First off, this shot where we see Scott Lang in his gigantic form, and he's being shredded apart, and that reminds me of what Wanda Maximoff did to Mr. Fantastic. All of this could be connected to him tapping into that cosmic energy current toward reality. And also too, look at these two shots here, these portal shots. You have one portal that's an orangish yellowish color, and then you have another that is blue. While that yellow orangish one could be similar to what Doctor Strange uses, or it could be the portal to the actual Nexus realm. These other shots with the blue portal could be tied into what America Chavez uses when she taps into the Utopia parallel current. Shoot, even when you look at this Empire cover for Ant-Man Quantumania, you see Ant-Man, Janet, Hank, Cassie, and Hope all coming through this blue portal here, as well as it looks like you can see some cosmic currents in the background too. Bruh, I think they're starting to hide this in plain sight. in the first few projects of Phase 4, it's laid out like right in our face. Like first off, in the Loki season finale, like they literally show us the time stream. Like shoot, we even go inside of it and it looks like a river of currents weave together. And then in No Way Home, Doctor Strange acknowledges that the Sanctums were built on currents of energy.
The Sanctum's built at the intersection of cosmic energy currents. We weren't the first to seek them out. Some of these walls are thousands of years old.
And another key thing there too is that this is something people had discovered thousands of years ago on Earth. People, or even possibly Kang the Conqueror himself, but they discovered it and harnessed it to use this power. Same could be said about Wundagore Mountain too, right? Like it could be built on a current of chaos magic that gives Wanda her ability to craft reality, meaning that that current could be the one that writes reality throughout time. But let's take it even like a step further too, right? Like Agatha uses dark magic, which I believe comes from the dark dimension, and the power of the dark dimension gives her the power to absorb energy. So with that being said, let's just get a little bit more sweaty. Let's think about the dimensions that we know about. Like the dark dimension current could maybe absorb currents to stop them from overflowing, maintaining a balance. The current that holds chaos magic rules reality, right? The Utopia Paradox dimension is likely the current that connects the multiverse together, which would allow America Chavez to travel throughout the multiverse. It could also explain why there's only one America Chavez throughout the multiverse, because that's the only type of current that you need to go through there. And now for the Nord dimension, we saw Ms. Marvel and we already heard the clip in this video. It produces energy that's strong enough to prevent the dimension from spilling into other dimensions, and I imagine that's what Hard Light does as well. If you look at this shot here from Ms. Marvel, you can see that she's stopping the Nord dimension from coming into the rest of the universe. So I imagine that the bangle and what comes from that energy current is what helps stop dimensions from spreading over into others. And when it comes to Doctor Strange's universe, I have a guess of it being the quantum realm, but I'm not really 100% sure where it could be. But to me, that's not really important to where I'm about to head right now, because the last dimension, I believe it's most important to Kang the Conqueror, especially in Ant-Man 3. That is Tal-Al. I believe Tal-Al holds the energy to create and control new timelines. Here's why. Because in the Ant-Man 3 trailer, we see Scott reaching for what many of us believes to be like the Nexus portal that would allow Kang to affect all of time throughout the multiverse, right? And in this shot, we see variants of Scott be created by Scott and controlled by him to work together. And that ability seems to be a lot of what we expect to see Shang-Chi be able to do with the 10 rings in the future with his power to replicate. So let's bring this Kang train home. Hit that sub button if you're still with me. Because remember the quote from Jonathan Majors, which says, here's conflict, not just mano a mano, not just hero and villain, but your way of life and my way of life, I'm coming for it. Kang's plan in Ant-Man 3 will be to have Scott capture a power from that dimension for him. And like he has to have Scott to do it to go into the Nexus, because if he does, Kang's variants will show up, and that's no good for anyone but Jonathan Majors fans. But in Ant-Man, Kang's dynasty begins as Kang harnesses that cosmic energy from that current and gets out into the multiverse to destroy it and rewrite everything. But yeah, to circle back around, if you use that logic, the stones were nothing more than a sling ring or a bangle or like the 10 rings, right? Like, nah, like I'm gonna stop right there because I might have to turn this into a series because I didn't even get to touch on that or even get to touch on how this means Wanda and Doom could definitely come into play and defeat Kang in Secret Wars. Look, I'm gonna have to get into a series on that, so make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you know when we drop a video, and I will catch you in the next one.